Good evening. November 20, 2024. It's now 8:19. Continuation on the caudal provision of the 1987 Constitution, the Legislative Department, Article 6, Section 26, Paragraph 1. Every bill passed by the Congress shall embrace only one subject, which shall be expressed in the title thereof. Paragraph 2. No bill passed by either house shall become a law unless it has passed 3 readings on separate days and printed copies thereof in its final form have been distributed to its members 3 days before its passage, except when the President certifies to the necessity of its immediate enactment to meet a public calamity or emergency. Upon the last reading of a bill, no amendment thereto shall be allowed, and the vote thereon shall be taken immediately thereafter, and the yeas and nays entered in the journal. Next, Section 27, Paragraph 1. Every bill passed by the Congress shall, before it becomes a law, be presented to the President. If he approves the same, he shall sign it. Otherwise, he shall veto it and return the same with his objections to the House where it originated, which shall enter the objections at large in its journal and proceed to reconsider it. If, after such reconsiderations, 2/3 of all the members of such House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent, together with the objections, to the other House, by which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by 2/3 of all the members of that House, it shall become a law. In all such cases, the votes of each House shall be determined by yeas or nays, and the names of the members voting for or against shall be entered in its journal. The President shall communicate his veto of any bill to the House where it originated within 30 days after the date of receipt thereof. Otherwise, it shall become a law as if he had signed it. Paragraph 2. The President shall have the power to veto any particular item or items in an appropriation, revenue, or tariff bill, but the veto shall not affect the item or items to which he does not object. Section 28, Paragraph 1. The rule of taxation shall be uniform and equitable. The Congress shall evolve a progressive system of taxation. Paragraph 2. The Congress may, by law, authorize the President to fix within specified limits and subject to such limitations and restrictions as it may impose tariff rates, import and export quotas, tonnage and wharfage dues, and other duties or imposts within the framework of the National Development Program of the government. Paragraph 3. Charitable institutions, churches, and personages or convents appurtenant thereto, mosques, non-profit cemeteries, and all lands, buildings, and improvements actually, directly, and exclusively used for religious, charitable, or educational purposes shall be exempt from taxation. Number 4, or Paragraph 4, no law granting any tax exemption shall be passed without the concurrence of a majority of all the members of the Congress. Section 29, Paragraph 1, no money shall be paid out of the Treasury except in pursuance of an appropriation made by law. Paragraph 2, no public money or property shall be appropriated, applied, paid, or employed directly or indirectly for the use, benefit, or support of any sect, church, denomination, sectarian institution, or system of religion, or of any priest, preacher, minister, other religious teacher, or dignitary as such, except when the such priest, preacher, minister, or dignitary is assigned to the armed forces or to any penal institution or government orphanage or leprosarium. Paragraph 3. All money collected on any tax levied for a special purpose shall be treated as a special fund and paid out for such purpose only. If the purpose for which a special fund was created has been fulfilled or abandoned, the balance, if any, shall be transferred to the general funds of the government. Section 30. No law shall be passed increasing the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court as provided in this Constitution without its advice and concurrence. Section 31. No law granting a title of royalty or nobility shall be enacted. Section 32. The Congress shall, as early as possible, provide for a system of initiative and referendum, and the exceptions therefrom, whereby the people can directly propose and enact laws or approve or reject any act or law or part thereof passed by the Congress or local legislative body after the registration of a petition therefore signed by at least 10% of the total number of registered voters, of which every legislative district must be represented by at least 3% of the registered voters thereof. Article 7. Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution is the Executive Department. Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in the President of the Philippines. Section 2. No person may be elected President unless he is a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, a registered voter, able to read and write, at least 40 years of age on the day of the election, and a resident of the Philippines for at least 10 years immediately preceding such election. Next, Section 3. There shall be a Vice President who shall have the same qualifications and term of office and be elected with and in the same manner as the President. He may be removed from office in the same manner as the President. The Vice President may be appointed as a member of the Cabinet, and such appointment requires no confirmation. Section 4. The President and the Vice President shall be elected by direct vote of the people. Repeat, Section 4. The President and the Vice President shall be elected by direct voting of the people for a term of 6 years, which shall begin at noon on the 30th day of June next following the day of the election, and shall end at noon of the same date 6 years thereafter. The President shall not be eligible for any re-election. No person who has succeeded a President and has served as such for more than 4 years shall be qualified for election to the same office at any time. No Vice President shall serve for more than 2 successive terms. Voluntary renunciation of the office for any length of time shall not be considered as an interruption in the continuity of the service for the full term for which he was elected. Unless otherwise provided by law, the regular election for President and Vice President shall be held on the second Monday of May. The returns of every election for President and Vice President, duly certified by the Board of Canvassers of each province or city, shall be transmitted to the Congress, directed to the President of the Senate. Upon receipt of the certificates of canvass, the President of the Senate shall, not later than 30 days after the day of the election, open all the certificates in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives in joint public session, and the Congress, upon the termination of the authenticity and due execution thereof, in the manner provided by law, canvass the votes. The person having the highest number of votes shall be proclaimed elected, but in case 2 or more shall have an equal and highest number of votes, One of them shall forthwith be chosen by the vote of a majority of all the members of both houses of the Congress, voting separately. The Congress shall promulgate its rules for the canvassing of the certificates. The Supreme Court, sitting en banc, shall be the sole judge of all contests relating to the election, returns, and qualifications of the President or the Vice President, and may promulgate its rules for the purpose. Section 5. Before they enter on the execution of their office, the President, the Vice President, or the Acting President shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as President or Vice President or Acting President of the Philippines, preserve and defend its Constitution, execute its laws, do justice to every man, and consecrate myself to the service of the nation. So help me God. In case of affirmation, the last sentence will be omitted. Section 6. The President shall have an official residence. The salaries of the President and Vice President shall be determined by law and shall not be decreased during their tenure. No increase in said compensation shall take effect until after the expiration of the term of the incumbent, during which such increase was approved. They shall not receive during their tenure any other emoluments from the government or any other source. Section 7. The President-elect and the Vice President-elect shall assume office at the beginning of their terms. If the President-elect fails to qualify, the Vice President-elect shall act as President until the President-elect shall have qualified. Next, if a President shall not have been chosen, the Vice President-elect shall act as President until a President shall have been chosen and qualified. If at the beginning of the term of the President President-elect shall have died or shall have become permanently disabled, the Vice President-elect shall become President. Where no President and Vice President shall have been chosen or shall have qualified, or where both shall have died or become permanently disabled, the President of the Senate, or in case of his inability, the Speaker of the House of Representatives shall act as President until a President or a Vice President shall have been chosen and qualified. The Congress shall, by law, provide for the manner in which one is to act as President shall be selected until a President or a Vice President shall have qualified. In case of death, permanent disability, or inability of the officials mentioned in the next preceding paragraph. Section 8. In case of death, permanent disability, removal from office, or resignation of the President, the Vice President shall become the President to serve the unexpired term. In case of death, permanent disability, removal from office, or resignation of both the President and Vice President, the President of the Senate, or in case of his inability, the Speaker of the House of Representatives shall then act as President until the President or Vice President shall have been elected and qualified. Next, the Congress shall by law provide who shall serve as President in case of death, permanent disability, or resignation of the acting President. He shall serve until the President or the Vice President shall have been elected and qualified, and be subject to the same restrictions of powers and disqualifications as the acting President. Section 9. Whenever there is a vacancy in the office of the Vice President during the term for which he was elected, the President shall nominate a Vice President from among the members of the Senate and the House of Representatives, who shall assume office upon confirmation by a majority vote of all the members of both houses of the Congress, voting separately. Section 10. The Congress shall, at 10 o'clock in the morning of the third day after the vacancy in the offices of the President and Vice President occurs, convene in accordance with its rules without need of a call, and within 7 days enact a law calling for a special election to elect a president and a vice president to be held not earlier than 45 days nor later than 60 days from the time of such call. The bill calling such a special election shall be deemed certified under paragraph 2, section 26, article 6 of this Constitution, and shall become law upon its approval on third reading by the Congress. Appropriations for the special election shall be charged against any current appropriations and shall be exempt from the requirements of paragraph 4, section 25, article 6 of this Constitution. The convening of the Congress cannot be suspended, nor the special election postponed. No special election shall be called if the vacancy occurs within 18 months before the date of the next presidential election. Section 11. Whenever the President transmits to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the Vice President as acting President. Whenever a majority of all the members of the Cabinet transmit to the President of the Senate and to the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. Thereafter, when the President transmits to the President of the Senate and to the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall reassume the powers and duties of his office. Meanwhile, should the majority of all the members of the Cabinet transmit within 5 days to the President of the Senate and to the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Congress shall decide the issue. For that purpose, the Congress shall convene, if it is not in session, within 48 hours in accordance with its rules and without need of call. If the Congress, within 10 days after the receipt of the last written declaration, or if not in session, within 12 days after it is required to assemble, determines by a 2/3 vote of both houses, voting separately, that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall act as President. Otherwise, the President shall continue exercising the powers and duties of his office. Section 12. In case of serious illness of the President, the public shall be informed of the state of his health. The members of the Cabinet in charge of the national security and foreign relations and the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines shall not be denied access to the President during such illness. Section 13. The President, Vice President, the members of the Cabinet, and their deputies or assistants shall not, unless otherwise provided in the Constitution, hold any other office or employment during their tenure. They shall not, during said tenure, directly or indirectly practice any other profession, participate in any business, or be financially interested in any contract with or in any franchise or special privilege granted by the government or any subdivision, agency, or instrumentality thereof, including government-owned or controlled corporations or their subsidiaries. They shall strictly avoid conflict of interest in the conduct of their office. The spouse and relatives by consanguinity or affinity within the 4th civil degree of the President shall not, during his tenure, be appointed as members of the constitutional commissions or the office of the Ombudsman, or as secretaries, undersecretaries, chairmen or heads of bureaus or offices, including government-owned or controlled corporations and their subsidiaries. Section 14. Appointments extended by an acting president shall remain effective unless revoked by the elected president within 90 days from his assumption or reassumption of office.